All right, my Scorpio friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing your monthly horoscope for July of 2020. We've started this out, right? We've got Saturn right on the 1st had moved back into Capricorn, okay? And we'll be there until December. So that's honestly the only planetary movement happening in the month of July. Everything else is staying exactly where it is. So thanks for joining me. No, I'm kidding. Let me show you the chart here. So although Saturn moving from your 4th house back into your 3rd house, or teetering right on the line, is the only planet that's moving signs besides the moon and the sun. Planet just means wanderer. It's Greek. Anyway, this is a mild month astrologically. However, it is still an impactful month astrologically. There's not a lot of movement, but yet what is there is like, I want to really hit home. You know, it's like getting massaged in one spot. You know, it's just like, really, really working out the kinks, really working out whatever it is it has to, you know, whatever knot needs to be knotted out, right? So Saturn moves back into your 3rd/4th house on the 1st, and then we'll be there until December. Now on the 4th/5th, depending on when you're at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time, there's going to be an eclipse. This is the last Capricorn Cancer lunar eclipse that we're going to have for another 18 years. All right. This is an interesting one because, look, the nodes have moved, right? So we have the North Node down here, or North Node here in Gemini, South Node down here for you in your 2nd house, in Sagittarius, 8th house, North Node. Okay, but the sun and the moon are going to be in your 3rd and 9th house, okay, in Capricorn Cancer. So the nodes are suggesting go in the direction of learning information, okay? Release old knowledge, release old patterns, release old philosophies, old religious concepts, old ideologies, releasing old knowledge that no longer serves to the new world of where we're going. And there's confusion between the two because this is collective knowledge here that we've gathered for centuries, perhaps, you know, years and years. And this is saying go back to the drawing board and re-look at everything. You know, we have to consider if we were wrong and how we did something, or we have to consider just other options, other opportunities. Now, the sun and the moon, however, sun being in Cancer, is saying like, okay, I need to what? I need to go toward what makes me feel comfortable. I need to go toward my safe space. I need to go toward being emotionally aware, being nurturing, being compassionate, caring, empathetic. The moon over there in Capricorn says I need to be practical, right? I need to reach my goals and my objectives. Okay, so this is extremely important as this eclipse is closing out the next 6 months of our lives. As well, we have Aries, Mars freshly in Aries, which will be there for the next 6 months of our lives. So for you, you know, this is going to be in your 6th house of service. How are you being of service to other individuals? How are you giving back to the community? How are you giving back to the world, right? So the eclipse is 6 months. Mars is going to be a 6-month cycle because it's going to retrograde between September and November. All right. So this weekend is kind of setting up the next 6 months of our lives. And for my Scorpio friends, it's saying being practical, showing up and saying yes, you know, and that's like the mountain goat's going to get to the top of the mountain no matter what. Okay. So it's going to make this journey, the ascension and the descension, continuously. So we have to show up and we have to be there. We have to be present. Okay, I put out a Eclipse video about this, and that was one of my biggest things. It's about being present, being here, you know, because as we're journeying up and down that mountain, you know, each step is critical. And we can't be thinking about something from the past. If we're thinking about the past, it's depression. If we're thinking about the future or worried about the future, that's anxiety, okay? And both of those are pulling us out of the present moment where we need to be. And as you're a Scorpio, you know, you're dealing constantly with like emotional stuff that's beneath the surface, you know, or dealing with deep emotions. Is that's who you are, and that's the embodiment of you as a person, and your soul being, and that's beautiful. And this is just suggesting right now that this energy is saying like, be here, be present, be available, you know, be emotionally available, not so emotional that you're withdrawn. right? And be into a humble and vulnerable place to be open to communicate. You know, we've got this Mercury retrograde still until the 11th. All right. So it's like communication can be difficult. Communication can be kind of scrambled or hazy or cloudy. And it's just trying to do our best right now to communicate. You know, some things can be quite difficult for us to communicate. And we have this sense of, I don't want to communicate because then, you know, everything's fine as it is, even if things aren't fine. You know, it's like everything's fine as it is, and if I say something, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna throw the feathers into the fan or something like that. So it's just like, well, we'll just shut our mouths to keep our peace. So this is just about picking our own battles right now through the 11th and just period while the rest of the month while Mercury's in Cancer as it kind of goes hiding, you know. But the topic of conversation is emotions, you know. So it's interesting as Mercury is suggesting communicate our emotions, Venus in Gemini is suggesting, you know, speak your heart, communicate your heart, communicate how you feel. Well, this eclipse is saying yes, but also do it practically and do it when you know you need to. You know, like it's just up to you to discern and find the different, find the balance between being emotional or between being practical. All right. So the moon wants to show up. It wants us to be solid, stable, and commit. So whatever we're doing, whatever goals we have for the next 6 months, you know, we kind of talked about this at the Cancer new moon eclipse. Solar eclipse just a couple weeks ago, you know, that it's about commitment, you know, commitment. So we're committing right now to whatever we're doing, we're committing to it, and we're creating a new life for ourselves. Now, on the 11th, Mercury stations direct. Also on the 11th, we have a Chiron. The moon's going to be over here about 7-8 degrees. Mars is going to be about 7-8 degrees. Chiron here at 9 degrees. So we're going to have all three of those meet up on the 11th, which is pretty cool. All right. Now, this being in your 6th house, this is like you being of service to other people. There's a potential that this Chiron here in this placement is saying you're not sure, you know, potentially you're not sure if you're good enough, can follow through with whatever it is that you want to accomplish and what you want to do, how you want to give back to people. With the emotional moon saying this is what I need, Mars saying this is my action and I'm moving toward this, we're going to be healing this aspect of ourselves, aspect of our lives that's saying, I'm not sure if I am good enough to do this, to be of service to other people. The fact that you want to be of service to other people in general, the fact that you're putting so much effort over these next 6 months into being of service to other people, that in itself is the healing, you know. So just the fact that you're wanting to do this and putting yourself out there is the necessary steps, right? Necessary steps that we're taking. Now on the 14th, Mars is actually going to conjunct Chiron at 9 degrees. Also on the 14th, we got this cool septile going on. All right, it's going on between Neptune and Saturn here. So Saturn in your 3rd house. This is about information. Could be also about siblings. You know, reach out to your siblings this month. But this is about information, knowledge coming your way. This is about your knowledge, as well as your creative self-expression, how you're viewed to the world, how you're, you know, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, your style, romantic partners as well. So there's something going on here between your knowledge and you know, like the more knowledge that you gain, the more you're able to communicate and express yourself and be free. You know, as any of the water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer, again, they can be, you know, as these water signs deal with emotions, again, they're about stuff that's beneath the surface and things that aren't always visible. So this Saturn-Neptune conjunction here between your 3rd house of information, communication, and 5th house, again, of creative self-expression, this means you're getting this extra boost right now of like your ability to communicate, your ability to put yourself out there, like your personal flair, you know. It's just like you're getting this boost of personal flair and excitement and drive to, you know, stir up whatever conversations. It's about being yourself. You know, there's like this great sense of like, I feel myself more than ever, you know, feeling myself, right? So that's positive. Now, on the 14th, excuse me. So that connection is going to last until the 25th between Saturn and Neptune. Now, plot thickens. On the 11th, okay, Neptune is going to create that same septile to Uranus on the 14th. Septile to Uranus, and that's going to last all through August. Now, remember, these septiles are seventh harmonic fate and destined connections, the sweeping hand of fate. All right, this is, we can see the effects of the wind, but we can't see the wind itself. All right, this is that unseen wind coming through and making sweet music in our lives, just like the wind blowing through the trees. Okay, so Uranus now, this is in your 7th house. Okay, so it's about stable relationships. You want to have stable relationships. Well, this is breakthrough. This is like that eureka moment, the lightning strike. Okay, Uranus is going to be in your 7th house for several more years. All right, but this is unique. This Neptune saying more. This expansion beyond the physical reality. Creating practical Saturn saying your wish is my command. Let's make it real. Let's think about it. Let's gather the information and embody it and be it. And now we are living our practices as well as breakthrough. You're able to commit to some sort of relationship stuff coming up here. All right, this is really, really beautiful. Whatever's going on, if it's a partnership as far as romance goes around the middle of the month, or this could be work opportunity, this could be family member stuff, whatever kind of partnerships are going on here. This is something really beautiful on the way that you're able to communicate and express yourself to other people, all right? Absolutely beautiful connection. This is a once in 7 lifetime connections, all right? So seriously, tap into that. This is a great month. I talk about it all the time, but just to meditate. If we're going stir crazy, if we're thinking too much, come down, just sit with ourselves and remember this, what's going on here. This is this beautiful, unique energy that's look, you can get whatever you want in life. You can figure it out. You can, connect the neurons in the brain. You can learn the skill. You can learn how to communicate it. You can learn how to craft it. You can learn how to do something. You can express yourself freely without being judged in a sense of work or partnerships. You know what I mean? This is just a really, really beautiful connection. So if anything's getting hairy in this month, come back to self, and yes, I can. All right, yes, you can, Scorpio friends. Now on the 20th, we have a Cancer new moon, which is cool because we've already had a Cancer new moon this year. It was a solar eclipse at 0 degrees. And now this is at 28 degrees, we have a new moon. So although the nodes have shifted away from this staying in a safe space, staying in my comfort zone thing, the North Node is suggesting we go outside of our comfort zone and seek knowledge, seek information, seek other things, seek outside that space, because we know that this is where magic is going to happen, right? So this new moon in Cancer is still reflecting this energy of 2 years ago. So this is wrapping up and concluding everything from 2 years of the nodals, from the nodes being in Capricorn Cancer. And this is as well saying, although we're seeking new information, although we're under great change in life, although politics have changed, governments have changed, our money's changing, the way that we're working, the way that we're living, the way that we're seeing family members, everything is changing. And this is saying whatever's going on here, we have to go with these changes, and to just be as best as we can be, the most compassionate and empathetic, and trying to be understanding and placing ourselves in the position of the other, and what can I give for you? How can I help you out? And as well, with so much being in your 6th house right now of service, you definitely have that for the next 6 months of how can I help you out? So being an open heart, This Cancer new moon definitely suggests 2 Cancer new moons in this 1 year, suggesting don't be calloused, as the North Node is seeking new information, it's reminding us that there's always 2 sides to every story, and we might be very firm in our conviction, or very firm in our thought or idea of something, or emotions of how something went down, and it's not till we open up that line of communication talking with the other that we come to realize a different perspective, and that perspective can now have an impact on us and change our perspective and the outcome that we had once thought. Okay, so that Cancer new moon, or Cancer new moon, is definitely suggesting that. Then on the 22nd, Sun's going to enter Leo, and that's our month. Everything is staying kind of, like I said, where it is. You have a lot of in your 3rd house, energy, communication, information. What's coming up in your 6th house as far as like work and service goes. Venus is staying in your 8th house with the North Node. Learning, maybe falling in love with the occult, which you're a Scorpio, so it's something that you already have, this desire for this knowledge, this different kind of knowledge, So, and then it's about, travel and knowledge. So it's like this whole month is really about information for you. Like it's so much information's coming in your way, and discerning the difference between like abundance of knowledge or just knowledge in general, or higher knowledge, and it's discerning the difference between, well, this is information. Sure, it's all information and we can talk about anything. I can talk about anything in astrology with you, but it's like, well, serves this highest purpose in this 15 minutes? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like your month here. It's just like, well, there's all this stuff, but for the time that we have, what is the most like direct thing to talk about that serves our highest interest? All right, so what's serving your highest interest, my Scorpio friends? Let it unfold and manifest. Have a beautiful, beautiful month. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and we'll see you tomorrow for the dailies.